ladies. Upstairs, but we'll do that.
Call this meeting the Harlan Township Board of Trustees to order. As a reminder, the meeting is being audio and video recorded. Would you please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, would you please read the minutes from the previous meeting?
Board of Trustees of Harlan Township met in regular session this 15th day of May 2024 at regular meeting place of 8276 State Route 132. Trustees Edward Prudzinski, Kevin Kern, and Marcus Shelton present. Meeting called to order by Mr. Shelton at 7 p.m. Mr. Shelton asked all present to stand and say Pledge of Allegiance. Minute read from regular session May 1st, 2024. Mr. Kern made a motion to accept minutes, second by Mr. Prudzinski. Chief Bennett discussed resolution requesting the auditor to verify taxable value for his 3.5 mil loan. Resolution 051524-1. Mr. Shelton moved to adopt resolution requesting that the county auditor certify to Harlan Township the total current valuation of Harlan Township and the dollar amount of revenue township that would be generated by 3.5 mil levy, second by Mr. Kern. Roll call, Mr. Kern, yes. Mr. Prudzinski, yes. Mr. Shelton, yes. Chief Bennett reported car 82 needs new fuse box. It is no longer manufactured. Dealership searching for solution for repairs for parts. Chief Bennett completed application for annual underground storage tank. Application and payment will be mailed. Chief Bennett reported fire department membership voted to place Chris Buchanan as a one-year probationary membership. Mr. Shelton made a motion to place Chris Buchanan as one-year probationary membership on fire department, seconded by Mr. Prudzinski. Chief Bennett received a quote from MSARS?
Yep, I'm sorry.
To service and repair the stair chairs on Squad 81 and Squad 82 for $947.91. Chief Bennett discussed placing the old 2002 Squad 82 on Gov Deals. Mr. Shelton made a motion to place on Gov Deals, seconded by Mr. Kern. Mr. Mason reported the boom mower taken to Southeastern Equipment for repairs. First road mowing complete. The 47X is back from warranty work at Freightliner. And the 07 dump truck sold for $10,051 on Gov Deals. Mr. Mason discussed using the cold planer as a test for skid steer from Warren County Water. Mr. Mason reported new culvert being placed under Lindley Worley Road. Mr. Mason and Assistant Chief's job description and rule policy to Warren County Prosecutor's Office for review. Mr. Mason and Mr. Kern met with Sarah Miller about the farmers market at Station 81. After discussion, trustees agreed to continue farmers market at Station 81 with seasonal rental fee of $100. Old business, Mr. Prudzinski reported the cemetery fence has been repaired. New business, Mr. Prudzinski attended the BZA meeting. Mr. Shelton reported will be attending the Warren County Park Board Steering Committee meeting. Community comments. Tony Butcher discussed the 911 calling center resolution for Village of Butlerville. Bridget Ballard asked which events to post on Township website. We'll only post Harlan Township events on websites. All other events will be marked as busy on the calendar. Melissa Greatorex asked about the open burns. Chief Bennett stated there is a burn ban from March to May with the exception of fire for cooking. If see open burn, need to call 911. Tanya Stewart discussed the movie night on June 7th at Butlerville. Ms. Williams gave written financial report to trustees. Mr. Kern made a motion to pay bills, second by Mr. Prudzinski. We had no correspondence. Mr. Shelton made a motion to adjourn, second by Mr. Prudzinski. Meeting adjourned at 8:07.
Whether do you have any additions or corrections?
Yes, sir.
Do I have a motion to approve the minutes as read?
Yes, second.
I haven't put anything more in it. Trust me, this bag gets heavier every time.
He's getting weaker.
Is that what it is?
It's late. Alright. Chief Bennett, are you ready to read your book?
It was 3 weeks. Car 82 is back in service. Dealership was unable to find the parts. AC Whitaker contacted several places and found the fuse box and parts. And Lieutenant Erie picked up those parts. Greatly appreciate the efforts and dedication of both those members. I want to say thank you to both of them for getting the car back in service. The annual petroleum underground storage tank release compensation application was approved and received the certification. We were notified by the underground storage tank inspector on June 3rd that they were inspecting that day. Inspection completed, and several recommendations were made. Had a testing company come out, Larry notified, and completed the testing on the tanks on the 4th. I don't know if you have any additional on that from Larry or not. Okay. MSARS did service and repair both the stair chairs on both squads. Provided you a packet there, gave you Trustee Kern for information on the food trucks and the inspections for the Ohio Department of Commerce. Met with ISO, Assist Chief Mason and I on June 4th. He was very impressed with all the information provided and the operations of our department being volunteer. The volunteer members did several training evolutions and videos, and we showed him the videos for a water shuttle accreditation, which could improve our ISO rating for the rural areas of the township. There's been several changes since the last time we were evaluated or rated 17 years ago, but hopefully we'll get a lower rating. We did go out and flow hydrants, and he did make a mention with us having our hydrants spread out throughout the township in a rural area. That's going to help us as well. So with us purchasing those 2 hydrants each year has done us well. It decreases our shuttle time. It also provides water in that area for those residents. So we should receive the report in about 6 months from ISO. So
Take 6 months.
yeah, he's got 45 days to give his report to the office in New Jersey, and from there they take all the calculations and they put it in the programs, and then they get the report out to us. So it might not take that long, but 6 months. Levy paperwork is with the prosecutor's office. The auditor certified the taxable value of the township. It is estimated at $191,390,280 for the township, which that levy at a 3.5 mil will bring in approximately $670,000. I will have the resolution for the next meeting, the second resolution. The Station 81 renovation project, spoke with the architect. He has made several phone calls to the building department with no return in phone calls. He's also left messages with the state of Ohio, inquiring questions for ADA and accessibility guidelines. There were some questions on our drawing and how about the guidelines and with being a firehouse. So I am going to make an attempt to the building department and see if we can get this moving forward. So just a updates, kind of status quo right now, but he's trying and not having much luck. So
The best time to get a hold of them is 7 a.m. in the morning, because they're out of the office by 8 and they never return phone calls. So 7 a.m.
that's what he said.
Yeah.
He said he's left several messages and
Yep, it's 7 o'clock.
okay. Brush 81 was sent out for ignition problems and an oil leak. You have the quote there. The cost of repairs is $4,167.36. I need a motion to approve.
Make a motion, we approve Brush 81 repairs in the amount of $4,167.36.
Second. Today we had the monthly tornado siren check, and they were tested, found Rochester, Gazetdale, and Mara Woodville tornado sirens were not working. So I contacted the EMA, and we were in a conversation today. I contacted Mobilecom, and they were dispatching crew out to work on. So I have not heard back from them yet, Mobilecom, but they are in the process of getting repaired. This was EMA sent out an email and asked us to be at each tornado siren today because of activation issues when the tornadoes actually hit. So the last item I have is I applied for additional grant money from the ambulance transportation grant. This is for retention of current volunteers, hiring one additional person, and for training expenses. And that was in the amount of $65,000. So we should hear back from that pretty soon because it has to be the money has to be used by September, end of September. It was extra money from the original ambulance transportation grant.
Got a question about the building department. You're contacting the building department and they have not responded to your calls for questions, or you've already submitted the plans?
No, he's got questions on the drawings, the original drawings that we had as far as ADA and accessibility from ANSI guidelines in a firehouse because we had two sets of bathrooms. If you remember from the drawing, we had basically where the training room, community room would be. Those are ADA compliant, but the ones in the living quarters of the firefighters are a little bit smaller. So he was checking to see if just the one bathrooms was enough because he was thinking that both bathrooms in the had to be ADA and accessible. Yeah.
I think you only need one. I mean, we only needed one up there.
Well, that's what I told him, but he didn't think so, and so that's where
I also have the architect, like the architect plan person's phone number, if you want me to pass it on
okay.
to you instead of just trying to call the main office.
Yeah, that'd be great. I'll make a few phone calls.
Well, the building department's not going to give you advice. Their job is to approve what you submit, not and make
I'm
sure
just
that
going
it's
off of
done.
what the architect has dealt with in the past.
That's not what their job is. They're not going to give you advice on what you should have and what you shouldn't have. They rely on the architect to draw it for what the specs should be and do the homework, and then all they do is implement it and approve it. They're not going to give you advice on it. And Ron Simtrop is the guy that does all the commercial now. I've got his cell number, and he's in pretty late. I don't think he leaves till 9 or 9:30.
He's been trying to get a hold of us, Scott. Something.
Well, that's who I have.
Scott?
Yeah.
Ron Simtrop does the commercial.
Can you send me that information? Yeah, be great.
Yep.
Who is the architect on that?
Jeff Watterson.
Jeff Larson?
Used to be a township resident.
All right, you guys have any other questions for Trustee's report? Steve, you got the administrator report?
I do. The boom mower is still at Southeastern Equipment. I'd sent you guys the original estimate to repair, and for some reason they've changed what they think needs to be done. And so the total quote last time, I think, was $6,700 or close to $7,000. Now that is the cost of parts, and they are unsure of what exactly the labor is going to be. She thought the labor is actually going to be less. It would take less time to basically replace, instead of replacing parts within a control box, they're replacing the whole control box. And we're estimating no more than $10,000. I guess I'm looking for what comes in before next time, a motion to repair that, not exceeding $10,000.
I know I've asked you this before, but how much is a new boom mower?
90,000. Well, just for the boom itself,
Now, don't tell him that number, tell him 200 and something.
he's waving his hands on there. So yeah, so to put a new boom on the same tractor would be about 90,000, and then a tractor with a boom like we have would be about $200,000.
They have a product that's designed, it's not a tractor, it's.
Right. Is that what the state, that little yellow thing they run around with?
When I drive through the township, we've got a jungle.
Oh, yeah.
And when I get outside the township, it's not a jungle.
Well, I guess,
I think we.
10,000's a lot cheaper than
If we were to fix this and move on, I think we need to consider something for next year.
Yeah, well,
But we're gonna need somebody in the seat for a couple months, if not longer than that, just to clean up where we are today.
yes, wait.
I'm gonna say 3 months.
I'm gonna re-get the rates next week. Well, you guys have any other issues with that? If not, I'll make a motion, we approve, the boom mower repairs not to exceed 10,000.
Second.
All right, like Jeff just said, he's ready to start his second round of road mowing. The lull on that lasted the last 2.5 weeks pretty much. So with all the rain and whatnot, the roads are growing up again. So he's gonna start doing that next week as weather permits. We have been using the planer from Warren County Water. Thanks to Kevin, he was able to find the right additional controller we needed to make it function. And you guys use that today. Jeff, anything you want to add to?
They said it worked good. I wasn't there when they planed today. I was hauling asphalt, so
Okay. Yeah,
they said it worked great.
I talked to Eric and Larry and said, yeah, it was pretty quick, and then they were able to immediately use their grindings and to do burning. There was no cutting and no chunks they had to deal with. They used the new broom and that swept it up really well. So, so thanks, Kevin, for
You're welcome.
talking your boss into that for us.
How long do we have that?
Yes.
Okay,
Unlimited.
okay.
Until they decide we don't. The crew, they've increased the turnaround size at the end of Creekside to help Jeff on his route when he's turning around for snow plowing. So there's been some extra gravel added to that. We just got notification today that the resurfacing of Fisher Road will begin this Friday, or should be one day, in and out one day for Fisher. So the base repairs they did today are the last ones we're going to do with them coming in here in a couple of days. I had sent out, I made copies again today. I forgot these two. I sent out the assistant chief job description as well as the dual role policy. Those came back from Katie, said they were fine. So if you guys want to go ahead and move forward and adopt those, having more discussion on those.
Do you guys have any questions on those?
I'm fine with it.
You want to go ahead and adopt them now?
Up to you.
Yeah, we can do that. The assistant chief job description, make a motion that we adopt the new assistant chief job description. And I'll make a motion that we adopt the new Harlan Township dual role policy.
Second.
All right, you have a handout from the Warren County Health District mobile van. They're looking for sites. This isn't going to start until September, but they're looking for spots around the county. They can spend 1 or 2 partial days. And the things they offer there is just basically it's mobile. They can do different tests, physicals, sports physicals, immunizations, those types of things.
How is it funded?
I don't know. But they are just looking for, they need like 15 by 30 worth of parking space to come out once or twice a month, starting in September.
We had them at the firehouse before.
Yeah, we've had it was the senior services too, right?
No, this is different.
It was, okay.
Yeah, this is, the health department actually did this 4 years ago. Well, just before COVID, it was,
So if you guys don't have any, did they already have the legal paperwork drawn up? you guys are okay with having a discussion on that, I can sign that and send it back.
I'd like to know more about it, but yeah, I think that's great.
Yeah, it doesn't, the township it doesn't cost the township anything, it doesn't cost us electric, they have their own generators.
Place to set up.
They're looking for a place 15 by 30 to park their van.
They say
If
what
we want to
days.
promote that within the township, we're gonna have to know a lot more about it.
What I know is what's on the flyer.
Yeah.
As far as how they get their money, funded through the county, I don't know if they have any kind of CARES Act, I don't know how they fund it beyond.
On the advisory committee, I've never even heard of this.
It's not funding for much writing a check, so it's about as far as my concern goes.
That's right.
At this point, so.
So they just, how many times?
I think it varies based on demand. I know it does it when they came out last time, they didn't have a lot of people. So I think they're
They
gonna,
were doing it once a week for, I think, a month or two, and then they stopped doing it. But they didn't have a huge turnout, but it was also not publicized well.
Is it more of a public service, or is it, I mean, it's
It
through
is.
your insurance?
It is.
Is it
yeah, it says,
individually funded?
yeah, so you can use your own insurance, you can use the different types of, I thought you had it on here about the, insurance. Yeah, you can use private insurance, you can use Medicare, all types of private pay. If you need to do private pay, they have, payment plans, all that financing and stuff they have.
But if you're interested in learning more about the WCHD mobile health, there's a website. Got a website.
You guys okay with them using the, I talked to Chief Bennett, he was okay with using the firehouse parking lot.
All right,
Good.
where they,
Okay. I will send that back in. There is a BZA meeting June 11th at
Be there.
6:30. That's gonna be there. And that is for variance
One.
at 8372 State Route 123. There is that's the BZA. There is a rezoning hearing with the county commissioners on June 18th. That's at 9:30 in the morning for the storage facility that's been started in Claremont County out on State Route 28.
are you going to that one either?
I haven't been notified of that one. That's not
Okay.
on my radar yet.
Anything else to add? I'm sorry, Mark. You have anything else to add on that
That's in
BZA?
Claremont County.
It's gonna be both. It's split.
It's right now.
Right now, it's in Claremont County because that's what they got approved. The Warren County still hasn't changed the zoning, so it's gonna
I can go.
extend
I just need to know the details.
June 18th, 9:30.
AM?
Should be on their website.
Department?
Yeah, it'll be in county commissioners meeting room, I believe, because it's with the commissioners, so
All right.
they don't travel. You come to them.
Yeah.
That's, we're gonna skip that next one there till next meeting. And then Ross Lever Road is going to be closed starting June 17th from 8 to 3 for some utility. Put new poles in or whatnot.
That's for 5 days, right?
It's for the week, yeah.
I think that's what I.
Yeah, sorry for that 5 days.
They'll be on my side, right?
It better be on your side. For the cemeteries, the crew did get the small cemeteries mowed, ones we don't have contracted out. And we did have a burial that was done yesterday on the 4th. All that I have.
Thanks, Steve.
Well, I had that variance under new on State Route 123, but I believe we have a gentleman here tonight that has info for you. One of the residents around.
Yeah, I'm one of the residents affected by the,
Did you want to talk about that a little bit?
there's the hearing, I guess, she's been denied, so it's for a variance to make a flag off of her property. And she doesn't have enough road frontage to do that, but, our neighbors are concerned because it's kind of been presented as selling it to a person, a family. But what's happening there currently is it's being used as a party venue. These motorcycle gang uses it for their rallies. They'll have a party of 1,000 people with rap music till 3 a.m. Neighbors like, you want to hold a dog fight? It's a place to be. That's hearsay. That's just from the neighbor. Very frequently, my neighbor, when they have these 1,000-person parties, they'll consistently throw their trash across and hop the fence and defecate in the woods and lots of things like that. So they already constructed They already put in 10 cabins. What happened was there's a small house and they built a road back and they put 10 cabins. They didn't make a foundation. They're portable, but they're 20 by 15 or whatever, 30 by 15 cabins. And so they use that facility for that, and they put in water, but they haven't been able to get electric or a septic approval because it's not its own property. So they want, my assumption is the reason they want to have it titled to itself is so they'll be allowed to put electric and water back there. When they have a party, it'll the road's over a mile to get back to where this is of gravel that they paid to put in. And when they're having the party, the traffic will back all the way out into 123. And then we have the people when they leave the party, they've been partying all day and that traveling on 123 past the property at 3 or 4 in the morning. So the neighbors, it's just, it's just a disturbance to us. We don't want to call the sheriff on somebody every time. That's not the kind of community we have around us. It's real nice. And if you want to have a party once or twice a year, it's fine. But it appears that this is being Airbnb. And if you want to have 30 acres to go out in the middle of nowhere and do whatever kind of debauchery you want, that's what it's being used for. But that's not what's been told to the zoning commission. They've been told that it's going to be sold to an individual. And there's pictures of the cabins and stuff I provided, so we need, this hearing's next Tuesday, I believe, right? Tuesday at 6:30. And it's not the zoning board, it's the BZA. And so I guess that's a yay nay kind of situation. Is that kind of how that works?
Right.
Yeah, but they can only rule on what's presented to them. They can't say what's all the peripherals.
Right.
Because
Well, what's presented to them is she has to have a
asking
variance.
for. They can't say,
Right.
this is what you're really going to do, what you might do.
Right.
I thought the county yesterday, and they told me that this was a group that works with handicapped children.
Yeah, it's a group of people called the Cartel. It's a motorcycle gang from Lincoln Heights known as the Cartel. And they're very active in maybe helping kids, but you don't want to hear what's coming out of these speakers. I mean, this is not normal kind of thing. This is very intense. I don't care what you listen to, but I don't want to hear it at 3 o'clock in the morning. She doesn't have enough road frontage. She has to have a variance in order to complete this. So if the people in our area don't want a variance, like I said, I don't care what you do, as long as it ain't bothering me, I don't care. It's bothering. It's not just bothering me. I came here, all the people around there.
Well, I guess one of your neighbors had to build a fence.
He built a fence because they were coming out and just driving through his yard.
There's about 4 buildings, there's 10, you're saying?
Well, I think there might be 7.
4 is what I'm just,
Well, I think I took a picture. I think there's actually about 7 if you go back.
but they are movable.
Yeah,
They're
I
not
think, yeah.
4, so that's
There's-
how
They can't see it with the Google Earth as
They are
much,
moving.
but you'll see some larger buildings, and I'm sure they know how to get by. If it's portable, then you don't have to have a permit,
I just can't, I ran this off of work, I can't
Yeah,
see.
so you can see the
anything
types of
on this.
buildings that they have. These aren't little, you know what I mean?
That's not an 8x10 shed by no means.
One of those things, I mean,
I don't got an area of experience.
So, Mike, what do you want us to make recommendation to the community to speak out and go
yeah,
to the hearing?
if you have a
That's a
website or something to say, look, anytime there's a rezoning,
Your best bet is to talk to your neighbors.
yes, and
Your neighbors pull more weight than you.
Yeah, and we're gonna do that, and we've engaged attorneys to make appearance at this BZA meeting next week. And, it's, if you wanna subdivide something, or you do whatever, and it's done in the appropriate way with the appropriate road frontage and appropriate septic and traffic flow, great. I don't have any problem with it. But as a township, I can take this and take my land and put 200 of those cabins on it. You know what I mean? That's what we're gonna establish, is this Airbnb thing is, what do you want me to do? I mean, maybe I wanna open something there. As long as I'm just cheating my way around the system that we have. If you want to Airbnb your property for whatever. I mean, that's where we're at as a nation or a state or whatever. You know, South Carolina, where my son lives, they had to pass an Airbnb ordinance that you have to live in the property because outsiders were coming in and buying up all the property and locals couldn't. I don't know. I really don't want to stop anybody from doing back there. If they want to grow onions or weed, I don't really care. As long as it ain't doing the types of things that are happening there. That's not the type of community we want. I own a property out here. I live in Cincinnati. You want to rent it for this weekend for $5,000, you can have whatever party you want. It doesn't matter. And that's the world we're starting to live in because of our proximity to Cincinnati. It's just,
Do you or your neighbors have any photos or anything that you're gonna be able to present them to the BCA?
I don't know what they have. I don't go around. I mean, if they're having a big hip hop party, if it's once here and there, I'm okay with it. Our other neighbors have parties, you know, they'll come by and be like, hey, I'm having a party. Great. Turn the music off at midnight. I think that's some type of ordinance or something, that at midnight, you can have what you want. Shut it down at midnight. But I'm just worried that with what's being done there now with the Airbnb situation, they're going to want to turn this into a venue. Which means, you know, they're charging $25 a person to get into this thing with 1,000 people. You know, I'd like to be doing that. It's fine with me, but you know, you got to put that in the right place. And it just happens to be next to us. It could be the farm.
More cows there.
Yeah, I need more cows.
Yes.
I need a lot less cows. But no, it's just that, you know, it's not. The issue is how do we control anything like that? You know.
My recommendation is, like I said, your neighbors need to speak at the
Oh, we're
BCA
gonna
meeting.
go. We're gonna say. But
And you have to vent what's there, and like Mark said, if you have any kind of pictures or things as they're going on.
well, I didn't videotape their parties.
That speaks volumes.
Right.
So,
yeah.
on our end, all we can do is kind of get the word out.
Right. Any chance anybody going to show up to it? Our town?
I know I'll be there.
Okay. If you could, it's like I said, it's just at what point does the traffic become an issue? If every Saturday,
Office.
yeah, you have to
Sheriff's
call the
office.
sheriff. You know, I mean, I don't want to call the sheriff on somebody else.
Yeah, but once the sheriff gets enough
Gotta have
of
a
it,
track record.
then they proceed
Right.
on their end.
Yeah. We're just hoping to stop the input of electricity and septic by not letting them subdivide. And that's from a person who's subdivided property.
It looks like there's already
You know?
electric back there.
What's that?
Looks like there's already electric back.
No, they're running off generators. So they're running generators and porta potties. And what they want to do is run electric and put in bathrooms that they can then have someone come out and pop out.
They could run electric. I mean, you can have power ran to it.
Well, they're not
All you
giving
need is
them
an
a,
address.
huh?
All you need is an address.
Well, they don't have an address. The address is to the current home that's there.
And
That
so,
Karen Home could add a secondary electric. All
right,
you could do is you can set a panel.
Well, she doesn't want to do that.
I'm saying you can't, it can be.
I guess they could do it, but she doesn't want to do it that way. There's just, and other than that, there's just a lot of bad stuff. I mean, there's a lot of things that show up there with out-of-state tags. Stay 20 minutes and somebody else comes and then leaves. You know what? It's just this is a bad
So this is
situation.
more or less a biker group.
Yeah.
That plays rap.
Yeah, they're that persuasion.
Bikers are.
That persuasion. Color, I'm about to say, color has nothing to do with this. Color has nothing to do with this. You know what I mean? I don't care what color anybody is. But if it was the Hells Angels over there doing this crap, I could care less. It's the behavior of these people. And, you know, what do? You don't want to fight a big battle over it if it's easily come down. I mean, we'll just do whatever. I'm not, you know, last weekend, 60 ATVs showed up driving those quad things, you know, you can drive on the road. 60 of them right there, party, leave there, go back to Cincinnati. It's, and, you know, I mean, I can put in cabins too, I guess. I'll just dig a lake and put in a bunch of portable cabins and start getting a check every week.
How often is this happening?
Oh, in the winter, it's not bad, but, as soon as the weather gets good, you know, it's been every weekend of some type of activity.
When did this all like start?
Last year, she leased it to these people, and that's when they put the road in, you know, which was a lot of money. You know, they came up with a lot of cash to, you're just leasing a property to put, you know, thousands and thousands of feet of gravel and water line.
Are you say you're going to that?
What's that?
You're going to that meeting Tuesday night? Then?
Yes.
If I'm
Yeah,
if I'm
I mean,
available, I'll
6:30.
I just wanted to make sure you guys are aware of it. We'll get the neighborhood to go and show up, and
I mean, that's your best,
if it works.
regardless of what we think.
Oh, right. I just wanted the rest of Harlan Township to know. You know, even like if on your website, if there's a rezoning, if you can post it on there somewhere, that's great. That this meeting is there, and if they want to contact me, that's fine. I'll do them a little bit. But I'm not the kind of neighbor going to come over and videotape your debauchery. Well, not anymore. But, you know what I mean? It's just, we're pretty mellow, you know, it's a mellow township, man. I don't care if you ride your dirt bikes or do
Pretty
whatever.
close to Blanchester.
I know, I have a Blanchester address, that's how close I am. But, yeah, that's the situation. So we're, all the people that got these letters will get it, you know, are gonna be.
600 feet.
Huh?
I think it's within 600 feet.
Yeah, something like that, it says on there, and, but there are people directly, you know, across the street, since it doesn't touch them.
Like 600 feet.
Yeah, and
It's a radius. It's a circle.
they don't get, some people just didn't, they're close enough, they should have, it's gonna involve them. And I'm telling you, you have to shut your doors. It's well over a mile as you go catty corner across my property back there. And you can't have your doors open. The music is that loud. So I don't know what kind of things we do, I'm just making you aware of it.
Okay. Thank you.
Sure, no problem.
Thanks, Mike.
Well, this gentleman here tonight for a reason too, so I'm gonna give you the floor before we do the rest of our stuff.
Okay, I appreciate it. Thank you. My name is Roger Gibb, and I'm here representing Pete and Sandra Hillsbush. You know them? They live here in your township. I do not live in your township. I'm in Mason, Ohio. But they were gonna be here with me, but they had a last minute thing that come up, and so they're not here. But we plan to come back again if that would be helpful. So the reason I'm here is I'm trying to do something to help our country. Okay, and let me explain what I mean by that. Every year, the Gallup poll does a poll among Americans, and they ask Americans, what is the biggest problem facing our country? And for 7 out of the last 10 years, the number one item listed by the people of America is the government, okay, the federal government. And I, for one, think that the federal government is a big problem right now. We're $34 trillion in debt, and there's no end in sight. We have an invasion in our southern border that's caused by the federal government. With that comes drugs, it comes sex trafficking, and it costs billions of dollars to pay for all of this. Our federal government's more interested in protecting Ukraine's border than our own border. We're all suffering from inflation. Inflation hurts the poorest of our citizens. And that's all courtesy of the federal government. And I could go on, but I think you could probably go on too. Well, it's one thing to identify a problem, and it's a completely different thing to find a solution. And I want to invite you to become part of the solution. So in the Constitution of the United States, there's a provision in Article 5 of the Constitution that allows for states to amend the Constitution. And what I'm inviting you to do is to help us amend the Constitution by using Article 5 of the Constitution. Our General Assembly in Ohio is looking at House Joint Resolution 3, HJR 3, and I'll give you all a copy of that in just a second. But what it is it is a request to invoke Article 5 of the Constitution that allows the states to propose amendments to the Constitution. And the Senate will have a similar resolution introduced probably within a few weeks. And what this allows, according to the Constitution, if you get 34 states to make this request, then a meeting of the states or a convention of the states will occur. All 50 states attend, and they can propose amendments to the Constitution. Now, under HJR 3, there's only any amendments proposed would have to fall under one of three topics. The three topics are fiscal responsibility. So think balanced budget amendment. The second is term limits on Congress and other federal officials. And the third is reducing the power and jurisdiction of the federal government. So let me give you some examples of this. So balanced budget amendment's pretty self-explanatory. There's about, I think it's 47 states either have it in their own constitution or as a statute, and Ohio's one of them. And I would submit to you it's time for our federal government to learn how to balance its own budget. Then there's term limits, I mentioned that. A lot of the people in Congress in Washington, D.C. have been there for 20, 30, 40 years. And being there for so long, it just induces, it naturally leads to corruption, and you can all see it. And so there can be term limits. Another one, how about one subject, one bill? There's these omnibus spending bills, which are literally more pages than the Bible. They give them 3 days to read it. And it's chock full of pork barrel spending and things that would never pass on its own merits. But they pass it as part of this giant omnibus spending bill. Well, if you had one subject, one bill amendment, all that would go away. And every single item would have to be passed one at a time. And so if it doesn't stand on its own feet, it won't get passed. And many states have this as part of their own constitution. Another option is to give federal and state governments joint jurisdiction over enforcing the border. That would allow Texas and other border states to enforce the border jointly with the federal government and help to stem the flow of this invasion that we have from our southern border. So these are the kind of amendments that could be passed. There's others too. For the sake of time, I won't go in any further, but if we could get amendments like this passed, it would really help our country take a step forward. These are not crazy ideas. These are very popular with the American people. Very common sense kind of things to help get things under control. So why am I here telling you this? I'm here because our legislature, our General Assembly, is considering this now. Let me show you this map here. I'll give you a few little handouts, if that's okay. So this is House Joint Resolution 3. That's right now. Thanks, sir. Thank you. In that house, I've got 3 copies. This is a map showing the progress that we've made. And I'll talk about that map in just a second. And then this is a non-binding resolution that was passed by Harlan Township, and I'll talk about that in a second. But there's the Harlan Township. So in this map, let's see, everybody got, yeah. All the states shaded green have passed a resolution like HJR3. There's 19 states. We need to get 34 states to pass this in order for a convention of states to begin, where the states could propose amendments to the Constitution, like balanced budget amendments. So all the green states have passed this. The blue states have passed it in one of the two chambers of their Congress. So they're halfway there. Again, I believe there's 7 states then. The yellow states have passed it out of committee and are getting ready to vote on it in their legislature. So we've made really solid progress, but we still have a ways to go. We want to make Ohio the 20th state, okay? And that's what HJR3 is about. Should Ohio be the 20th state or not? And so the question is, do you think your constituents here in Harlan Township would be better off if the federal government stopped running us into so much debt? Do you think that we'd be better off if we could drain some of the corruption out of Washington, D.C.? And do you think the people in your jurisdiction would be better off if we could bring some of the power back to the states and kind of downsize the federal government and get them to stay in their lane? That's really what this comes down to. If you want to have a voice in that and influence, then what I'd invite you to do is to consider passing a resolution. It's non-binding, that requests, basically it's a resolution that says, please, General Assembly in Ohio, we want you to pass this. In particular, we'd like Steve Wilson, Senator Steve Wilson, and Representative Lips to support this. So they get to hear your voice. So 5 municipalities in Warren County have passed this. You got Hamilton Township, Deerfield Township, Wayne Township, the village of Waynesville, and the village of Corbin. They've all passed these, and we're just inviting you to consider passing it also. So I'm going to stop talking for a second. Do you have any questions? Is what I'm saying? Did I do a good job explaining what I'm here for and what I'm inviting?
Yeah, very good job. Are you with the Convention of States? Or
Yeah.
just a member?
Yeah, so I'm a volunteer. I don't get paid. I'm an American trying to help my country. And yeah, I'm just a volunteer. I'm one of the 2.5 million Americans who have signed the petition and who want to rein in the federal government.
I'll be honest with you. I used to be a big supporter of the Convention of States committee years ago. Big Mark Levin fan.
Yes, sir.
But started doing more research, and like in your opening statement, you're talking about how the government is out of control, wasteful. I agree with all the talking points.
Yes.
Term limits, spending limits.
Yes.
The problem is when you invoke Article 5 and you open up the Constitution, you can't just open it. Once it's open, it's open. You can't just do one little amendment. And do you trust the federal government and the people we have in office? I don't. So that's why I don't support that.
I understand. So I appreciate you expressing that concern because there are people out there that, you're not the only person who's expressed that. So I have a little article. I respect your point of view, and I can see where that could come from. I have an article. I'd like to leave it with you, but I'll tell you, back in the 1960s and 50s, the states were starting to grumble about the federal government. It was kept getting bigger and bigger, and they started to talk about using Article 5 to amend the Constitution. And as you might expect, the big fans of big government started to take action to try to shut that down. And so there were lots of people, professors and judges and things who were in favor of big government, and they started spreading all these rumors and basically saying, well, once you open the Constitution, they were spreading lots of negative material suggesting that this was dangerous, okay? And that's what this article is about. It's called the Disinformation Campaign Against Article 5. And I'll just tell you this, if you go to, do you know who our biggest most ardent opponent is? It's George Soros. George Soros, Common Cause, and all of his organizations are our opposition. That's our main opposition. If you go to if you go to commoncause.org and you type in Article 5, you'll get article after article from George Soros's organization saying exactly what you're saying. And what has happened is that some conservatives, including the John Birch Society, have bought into that. And so it started with big fans of big government. That's where those rumors started. And I know that you've got a meeting. I don't want to overtake your meeting and disrespect you in that way. So, but I would be happy to sit down and talk to you about any of these details, because constitutional scholars who are very conservative have sat down and analyzed all of these different arguments against, and they published peer-reviewed journals, articles that basically answer all of these questions. But the founders put this in the Constitution for the day when the federal government would get so out of control that the states would have to rein it in. It's our best hope to rein in the federal government. It's not dangerous. If you read HJR 3, for example, it's only like 2.5 pages long. If you read HJR 3, it says it has provisions, safeguards. It says that any proposed amendment that touches the Bill of Rights will automatically trigger Ohio to be pulled out of the convention. Okay, and so the Bill of Rights is completely off limits, and that's spelled out in HJR 3 that you have. And it says that any commissioner, any delegate that Ohio sends must obey the instructions that the legislature gives them, or they can be recalled and replaced. So there are safeguards put in here. Yeah.
To a point.
Well, if you'd like, we can talk more, but I don't want to overtake your meeting.
That's fine. No, I'd like to talk with you more about it. I mean,
yeah,
they violate the Bill of Rights now. They've weaponized the DOJ. They completely, what Constitution? So what is a new amendment going to do?
Yeah, that's a good question. And the answer is that what has happened is that the Supreme Court has effectively amended the Constitution through their rulings. And so they've been amending the Constitution for a couple hundred years. And an example, the General Welfare Clause of the Constitution, it used to be interpreted before FDR, used to be interpreted that federal government can only spend money on enumerated powers in the Constitution. You can't spend money on anything else. Then there was a Supreme Court ruling in 1936 that was at the pressure of FDR, where the Supreme Court changed the interpretation and allowed the federal government to spend money on anything it wants. And so they effectively amended the Constitution. And so you can fix that by having an amendment that defines the General Welfare Clause and puts it back the way it was, so that the federal government can no longer spend money on anything it wants. You see, and so I hear what you're saying, but there are answers to those questions. They're great questions, but there are answers. And so I'll give you this article.
Okay. Is your number or anything on?
No, but I'll tell you what. I'll write my number on here. But I appreciate your time tonight. And
Yeah, I'd like to get with you sometime.
Yeah.
Have a discussion.
Yes, sir. Yeah, I mean, you've got great questions, and they deserve answers. So I appreciate it. Thanks, sir. Thank you.
Do you guys have any other questions?
No. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Good old business. All I have for old business was I attended the planning commission meeting 2 weeks ago.
Anything come out of that?
About 5 hours worth of sitting. I think I'm the only one that has any agriculture or farm-related knowledge. You have subdivisions, I think there was 9 subdivisions plotted in Warren County. There's a couple of them in the Franklin area, and a farmer in between 2 of them. I think there was a 37-acre tract and an 80-some-acre tract. They're gonna put up, I don't know, 200+ houses. And the farmer was trying to get the zoning and the planning commission to implement a fence to put along the property lines and to hook back up his field tile. And of course, nobody had any idea why he would put a fence up, and nobody even understood what a field tile was. So I tried to explain to the board that a field tile was the same as cutting your power off in your house. But it's not the responsibility of the planning commission or the zoning department to implement anything like that. Their job is to say, you can do this, and this is the parameters that you could work in. They can't, implement anything onto a developer, other than say, this is the zoning we can give you, and this is zoning we can't. So the poor farmer pretty much left with, he's gonna have some undrained fields, and he's gonna have a lot of company. So I kind of felt helpless in that case, so I did recommend that he gets with the, I want to see development, no doubt, but I'd like to see them work hand in hand with agriculture as well. I told him to get with his Farm Bureau. He might have a little bit better representation there than, but again, I understood what his plight, but that's just not the job of the planning commission or the zoning to implement those kind of things on somebody. That's all I have for old business.
I guess we made the right call putting him on.
Yeah, just enjoy it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I like sitting in the hard chair for 5 hours.
Old business, the May 16th tar chip meeting that I went to, Warren County Engineers. I found out that we talked about the micro seal and going back over, trying to, prolong the tar chip jobs that we're doing. And a guy gave me a rough estimate of $18,000 to go back with micro seal on Second Creek and Morgan's Run, which are the 2 subdivisions.
You know how much feet that is?
No, okay. Second Creek was on 28 and Morgan's Run's up on North Roxburgh. We talked about it. I know it's something you guys want to think about.
You said 18,000.
18,000.
Just making sure I wrote that down.
Yeah.
You don't remember how much of that was getting tarnished yet?
The whole,
It's all getting tarnished.
it's all.
How many?
I don't remember how many
miles,
miles it was or anything like that, but it's all getting tar chipped. So, don't really have to know now, but I did get a rough estimate on it, because we discussed it a couple different times.
Just get some measurements on that and see what kind of.
Yep, you got anything? What do you think of it?
We don't know.
Just know what Steve's told us.
Did you talk to Scott Camry? Anybody? He does a bunch of it.
The Wayne Township?
Yep.
Yes, and they really like it.
I talked to him.
He's a big advocate of it.
It,
Really thinks it makes a big difference.
the rough numbers, as I recall, it ends up being about half the cost of resurfacing.
How long does it last?
Lots of variables, that shade, traffic, water. And the one class I went to at OTA, they had done it on a state highway. And I think it made it 6 or 7 years. It was right in front of their county highway garage or state garage for that area. It does go on black, so it looks more like pavement.
It looks like pavement.
It's similar to what they did on 28.
They did that on 20.
And yeah, it's that same kind of process.
Almost like it's painting it down or something.
Yeah, it uses finer material on the top, so it's not as porous as what the tar chip finish ends up being.
I'll get with you. Let's work on a cost analysis, get all the numbers and then do an assessment of how long it lasts.
The mileage.
That's,
I mean, what I've seen historically has been worked out really well. And it's been going on since long before I was ever around. I remember being a kid, as a kid, that was all. All township roads were all tarred. Blacktop wasn't done at all.
Yeah, we did a sealant there for a few years. Can't remember.
Fog seal.
No, you remember what that was? Well, it was under Andy, so I can't remember what it was called. It was like a clear, but we'd go back over it, like after we paved the road, the next year we'd come back over it with a sealer. And it was supposed to prolong up to.
We saw that at OTA as well.
On pavement or
On pavement.
Yeah,
They sprayed it.
they come back and yeah, they can do it a year later. You can do it the
It's
same time.
supposed to seal up a lot of the
The pores.
smaller
Yeah.
areas, so you let less water into the asphalt.
I believe that's what the engineers was doing now on a whole lot of it, on resurfacing jobs.
Okay. I'll get with you. Figure something up.
All right. Well,
Let's see, Harlan Township Farmers Market, that starts tomorrow, right?
It does.
What's the times on that?
3 to 7.
3 to
I think I
7.
say.
3 to 7. All right. And then, Ohio Department of Taxation has requested some additional information on this building. So I've sent them more information, get the square footage exemption, reduce our property tax bill on it for next year. And we've got the tractor show here, June 15th. Old School Cruise In, June 29th. I did talk to Wilmington McGig about vehicle parking during these events. Would it be all right for them to move down to the gravel area or somewhere down to Firehouse on those Saturdays?
Gravel area would be better, but yeah,
I didn't know if we had anything going on 15th or 29th down
I
there.
think it's rented out one day, so.
Okay. And then, Bridget, do we have ice cream for any of those events?
The tractor show, Miranda's ice cream will be here.
I thought that was just for those that are on the tractor ride.
Nope, no, anybody can buy it, but Miranda's is gonna cover the people on
Okay.
the actual
Okay.
tractor ride, but
Okay.
anybody can buy that one. I think there's a taco churro truck for the tractor show.
Okay. I knew Miranda's was coming, but I was told it was just for those doing the tractor ride, and I thought the kids are gonna have a fit. They can't-
No, that's not my understanding. They're gonna be here, but Miranda's will cover the ones that are actually doing the tractor ride. But anybody else obviously pays the full price.
They have told you that.
Yeah,
Miranda's.
I mean, I'll follow up, but
Okay. I just wanna make sure.
yeah, because they were gonna do a whole ice cream social anyway,
Right.
but we didn't have the right hookup for the machine and blah, 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 blah. And then Miranda's is actually part of the Farm Club.
Okay.
So, from my understanding, anybody can buy the ice
We
cream.
gotta have ice cream.
They're just covering the tractor ride people.
Steve, you have any old,
No.
Jenny, old business?
No.
Go to new business. Ed?
I have another planning commission meeting tomorrow. And apparently the 11th and 18th, but get a quote from Curtis Nash for grinding the stumps at Edwardsville and straightening up the stump that was not where it needed to be, for $350. That's all I have for new business.
You tell him, just go ahead and do it.
I didn't yet.
Yeah, just tell him, go ahead and do it.
He's a little hard to contact.
New business?
yeah, I had a call from a resident about, Sunrise running their fertilizer spreaders through the ditch on Templin and also on Starkey. So I called and told them to quit. Don't do it no more because they're messing up our ditches.
Sunrise.
Sunrise, pretty much. Don't do that no more. That's it.
You
And
already
you said
covered,
Templin and Starkey, right?
Templin and Starkey.
you've already covered the Ross Lever road closure. Received multiple complaints on, our discussion there on 123 with the variance. Jenny sent that email to Warren County Judges Loxley and Fisher, will be here August the 7th. And then Warren County Auditor Matt Nolan is asked to be at our September 4th meeting to discuss the 2025 property reassessment values and the rise in the CAUB.
Which meeting was that again, September?
September the 4th. And then gave you guys copies of that Cook construction on the roof leak in the steeple.
What roof are we talking about?
The
One at the
steeple,
bell tower.
the one that's the way, yeah, the bell tower.
That's what the bell tower.
The point of no return?
Yeah,
Yes.
but, yeah, we had a leak and it damaged the ceiling, and apparently it's happened before because Lil Miami had put
Yep.
wood over, looks like a beam in there.
To hide it.
Yeah, so I had Mikey pull that off there when Cook was looking at it. And yeah,
It's a mess.
so they're gonna repair all of that and then do the shingles up on the roof and then the little jut out there tower off the front of the gymnasium, the walls area. You guys, any discussion on that?
We need to approve this?
Yeah, we'd have to approve that if we do it. Which I'm sure Bridget would be happy if we.
I would
get
be
that
grateful
done.
because my office is a wreck right now.
Instead of putting buckets and looking at plaster on the floor.
Well, if we're speaking of leaks,
Indoor plumbing.
we really need those door seals on the front doors, because I walked in the other day after that really bad rain we had, and the hole in front of the double doors.
All the wind.
That you can see right through the door.
Okay.
Just another suggestion, if you want
Those I can-
water out of the building.
Those we can probably just get, we won't have to get them approved for those.
That's the front doors.
Yeah, the main double front doors.
I know I had that around here, some patching.
Road patching out from the side of 28 a couple weeks ago. That'd be old business.
Did, you guys have any more discussion on that? So we get, this is the thing, for 5327, I don't think we should turn that in on insurance, we'll just take care of it instead of getting our insurance rates jumped up.
Are you saying that quote is for $5,327?
51 cents. Is to remove the existing layer of the shingles, installation of new underlayment, edge trim, flashings, and lifetime dimensional shingles. Also repair interior drywall. Clean up, removal.
Rick, this is the same spot at the top of the steps.
No, this is inside the office. Like
This is the,
where it was leaking, that other 3 steps.
yeah, that was the rubber roof.
Okay.
This is,
And it's leaked in a couple spots up there. It leaked across that beam, and then it leaked over when you walk in the door off to the right, over top of April's desk.
Mikey's done a little bit of work to try to shed the water a little bit, but
Yeah.
we've got to get it fixed.
We consider an umbrella.
Listen, I am over the water. I'm over the water.
It's all good.
Oh, listen, the first time it flooded, we had like 3 or 4 5-gallon buckets, and we had about 10 towels, and we just walk around the building and just place them where they need to go before it happens.
More rain's coming.
All right, I'll make a motion to have Cook Construction fix the roof, cost of $53,2751. It's like a school.
All right, then I spoke with Warren County about the old guardrails that are being replaced on county roads. I know Larry talked to somebody over there too. Milo, that was it. They are gonna donate some of the old guardrails they're taking, if there's nothing wrong with them. So they're gonna donate some of that to the township.
What are we using for?
Guardrails, we have no ends, no post, we need everything. As a matter of fact, I think I made a list last year, or the year before, but we never did make a purchase.
We installed, we put them in, use the driver, put them in.
County help us do the driver.
Okay. I might have a few in, like 6 or 10.
You want to donate? We'll take it, we'll take everything we can get.
In my weed.
That stuff's not cheap. Then Osborne and West Mary cemeteries need to be trimmed back. When I was putting up
You say you talked to Larry, he said,
Yeah,
he's gonna get it.
the flags there Memorial Day, one on Middleborough, Osborne. There's two of them I couldn't find. And finally, the lady that moved in there, she come out, and she pointed out, she said, there's a better marker back over there. I mean, it's just growing up. When Peter Craig lived there, he kept all that trimmed back. So we need to stop in there and take care of that.
And that was Osborne and where?
West Mary. Right across from the variance.
Yeah.
Property.
I don't know how you find them.
And then, do we have any plans to do any crack sealing in Deer Meadows this year? Now we got some culvert pipes. Yeah. Wayne's Way, Doe Court.
We're gonna have to start looking at that for resurfacing. That's gonna be a discussion Dustin and I had
We've been looking at that for a while.
At some point, we're gonna run out of next year's on that one. So there was some of the crack sealing we did on Valkerdine, that really wasn't very successful because the cracks were getting so
So
big.
wide.
It just,
That wasn't technically crack sealing.
right, it was, yeah, it was.
They're just trying to,
Well, speaking of Valkerdine, that just got paved last year. It's already cracking out across the entire road in multiple places down there already. Is there a warranty on that they did?
That was Barrett, right?
It's Jurgensen.
Oh, Jurgensen.
Yeah, but I noticed that at several places and one of them's over an inch wide already going all the way across the road.
I'll get with the county because we go through the county to get better pricing. So we use their contractor
Mhm.
and see if there's anything with it or if they want to come out and look at it, see if there's anything we can do with it, but we'll take a look at it.
Jurgensen's doing a lot of work in this area right now.
Yeah, that was one of the plans for the planer was to try that over on Misty Meadows Court, right?
Morgan's Run Court.
Morgan's Run Court. And if it works,
We're gonna-
Misty Meadows is
Yeah.
out the road, but,
it's gonna be tar and chip, so we're gonna try to do that.
yeah, just try to get those, the cracks in Morgan's Run Court are large enough that tar chip's not gonna fill them up. Or it might fill them up for a month, and they're just gonna go back through again. So hopefully we can grind this out, get it down to the base again, rebase it, and see how it's gonna hold.
I'd like to see it used. I'd like to see how it works.
All right, that's all I have for new. You have any news, Steve? Jenny, do you have anything new?
I do. We need to go ahead and schedule the budget hearing for July 3rd. We usually do that prior to the regular business meeting. We normally do it at 6:30, but it's been running over, so I'm gonna suggest like either 6 or 6:15. That way we have time to go over the budget hearing prior to the regular session.
I am probably going to be on vacation that week. Will you be able to email me that info?
It'll be the weekend before, because that's when I'll get it finalized, but
No, that'd be fine, just as long as I have it, because I'm pretty sure I'm on vacation 29th through the 5th or something like that.
so what are your,
You say 6?
either 6 or 6:15, because we usually do it at 6:30 and we have plenty of time, but these last couple of years, it's been adjourned to budget hearing and we open the regular session.
You say 6:15? You guys,
Fine. Yeah, it's fine.
And that'll just be right before our regular session on that day.
What meeting is that?
That's the budget hearing.
first.
All you have to do is show up.
The date on it.
July 3rd, it's our regular session meeting.
Will you be bringing the fireworks?
No, I don't do fireworks. I'll be saying this is how much you're gonna be allowed to spend.
And
Okay.
you can't buy fireworks.
Fireworks included.
That's all I have.
got anything else?
Community comments?
Everybody's looking tired.
Do I have a motion to pay the bills?
Make the motion to pay the bills.
Second.
Correspondence?
Oh, we do actually,
I'd
surprisingly.
like to see that. Humane Association of Warren County. Oh, you're from County. You want to read this? No, they're Orlando.
It's an event that they're inviting you guys to.
You need to volunteer to the Humane Society.
Yeah,
You're
with
gonna
all,
write Kevin on there.
with all that spare time you have.
Did anybody hear how the auction, the quarter auction went?
I have not talked to them. I
Quarter
was wondering myself.
Quarter auction?
All
It
right.
looked like there was a lot of,
On that, because I don't remember, did we get a check on that?
A check? No, that was a volunteer. We just donated the time. It was a fundraiser for.
Okay,
health
because I
issue.
wasn't told that. I was expecting a check.
Anything else to be brought before the board? Motion to adjourn?
Okay, the bills?
Oh, did
We
do that?
just paid the bills.
Already paid the
You
bills.
said
I
you'll
didn't
pay
catch
twice, you go right on ahead.